This meeting is being recorded.
Oh,
Hi.
oh my goodness, you're all bundled up.
Yes, it's very cold here. Yeah.
It's like so warm here. It's unbelievable. All the trees are like dead, leaves are falling.
Um,
Um, it's like shorts and a t-shirt weather.
it gets that way sometimes here in October too. It's funny how the world is what I'm doing now. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Hello.
Hello, hey guys.
How
good.
you doing?
Yes, yeah, I'm okay. Still recovering, but yeah, not too bad.
COVID?
Yeah, just fatigue,
Yeah.
taking things real slow. Yeah,
Kerri's gonna call back all the energy today.
Yeah, you'll feel better after
I
today.
hope so. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
so excited. Let me double check and just message some people who said they were gonna be here
No
and just
worries.
let them know that we'll probably start in a few minutes. Actually gonna call one person because I have their WhatsApp. They definitely said they were coming. I'm like, don't miss this.
Well,
No.
they'll playback, right? They can still get some of the
Yeah,
benefit. Yeah.
I know. They can. I have fired out messages and the ducklings may come in. So, um, well, Kerri, can I introduce you first? That'd be great.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, for everyone who's listening to the recording and for, oh, Usman's here. Hello, Usman. Hi.
Hey, hello,
Hello.
I'm in a mall, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. At least you made it. I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so a brief intro to Kerri. She came through a friend of a friend, a friend of mine who actually, two friends of mine who both recommended her. Both of them are incredible business people. And they told me there's this intuitive empath who is a genius and you just have to talk to her. Of course, I didn't necessarily take their word on it for the first 6 months, and then I eventually did the call with her, and it just blew my mind. Not only is she incredibly intuitive, but she's also, Kerri, you as like the CFO of a publicly traded nonprofit. What's your role?
Oh no, I'm the director of accounting for a public company that makes lasers and things for the defense industry, for commercial cutting, welding, that kind of thing. So I'm very much in the real world that
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
Well, incredible accountant and team manager of big company and lots of numbers and lots of organization. And so when I went through my exit process with Better AMS, she guided me through so much of the stuff with the cap table organization and how much equity I should sell and the terms and all of this stuff. And she understood all of it, which blew my mind because she's incredibly intuitive at the same time. And it's very rare to find somebody that's very grounded and in the real world also just able to understand the context of the infinite. So that's my intro to Kerri, everybody.
Thank you for the very kind intro.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, would you like me to take over here, or do you have more things you
No,
want to cover?
that's all you. I pass the mic on to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited to work with all of your energy today. As Taylor said, I do work in the real world, but I trained for several years at a school. It's called the Intuitive Path Academy. So beyond whatever natural talent I may or may not have entered this life with, I've been training for a long time. I've done readings with hundreds of people, if not thousands at this point. And so I've learned how best to kind of contain and present the information to people to fit them, their unique way that they need to hear it. So that's what I hope to do with you all today, and get you all back in your bodies all in the current time. So are there any questions about process before we start from anybody?
No, none from me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I will start, and we'll just I know I'm sorry, I'm here in a mall, so it'll be a little hard for you, but as best as you can, and now you guys kind of close your eyes, center yourself in your body, just feel comfortable in your seat, and we'll get our energy back in ourselves. So okay, so the first thing I want you to do is just take a deep breath and bring your awareness into your body behind your eyes. We're going to really pull ourselves into our body here. Okay. And we're going to do a grounding exercise first. So the first thing you do is imagine a cord attached to the base of your spine, roughly around the end of your tailbone. And that cord is attached to you very firmly, and it's as wide as your seat. So however wide you are, that's how wide the cord will be. And then I want you to straight down into the earth as far as you can, right down to the center. You're going to make a straight line with that cord, and it's going to attach there. And know that each side of the attachment is very firm. It cannot come undone. You do not have to worry about it. You do not have to maintain it. The most important part is the side, as wide as you, and it's completely straight. Looks like everybody's gotten there. So now imagine that this cord is hollow. Looks like a chute, if you will. And then we're going to just let our body, our aura, all of our energy layers just release whatever is in our space down that cord. Whatever doesn't need to stay, whatever we're carrying for other people, whatever is bothering us, we no longer need. Even lessons we no longer need to work through, even if they're not finished. We're just going to let ourselves easily, effortlessly release for a little bit here. And now we're going to specifically release other people's energy down the cord. So just ask your space if there's any other person's energy, any other being's energy in my space. I just want it to flow down the cord without effort. Just releasing it. Looks like a big one for everyone. So we'll give this one a little extra time. So now we're going to move some energy out of our space that we don't want to send down the grounding cord. We just want to move it out of our space in a way that is contained somewhere but distant from us. So I want you to imagine out in front of you a bubble and put it at least about 6 feet away from out in front of you. And inside that bubble is a magnet, and the magnet is going to attract any energy in your space that is your business or a business you're trying to create, anything you're considering your business. The reason we want this out of our space is so we can have a little bit of distance from it. We can not have to carry it around within ourselves, but we don't want to, toss it away, so to speak. We just want it a little further away. So just to let that bubble fill up. It can get as big as it needs to get to hold it. You don't need to worry about that. Just let it get really big, full of all the energy of the business. You can put in employees in here, finances, decisions, all of that, anything to do with it. Okay, so now that those look like they're getting pretty full, we're going to plant them somewhere that makes you happy. So if you feel like you'd love to put it at the beach at a tropical resort, you can plant it there, put a grounding cord just like you did for yourself. Attach the bottom of the bubble down to the center of the earth. If you'd rather have it in your back garden, in a beautiful park in the city, anywhere that makes you feel peaceful about your business, just send the bubble there and plant it. This way you know exactly where it is. It's easy for you to access. You can add more to it later. You can take things back from it if you wish. But it's seated in a beautiful home. Very nice. So now that you've cleansed yourself of anything that isn't meant to be carried around right now, we're going to replenish ourselves, and this is hopefully going to feel very good. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start bringing energy from the earth into our body. This is very supportive energy. It helps us connect with what is going on in the earth current time. So from the bottom of your feet, your feet, you have chakras at the bottom. They are like little camera shutters, and they open and close. And so I want you to imagine those little chakras at the bottom of your feet to be open, as wide as you can open them. Just let them open nice and big. And then I want you to imagine reaching down from that point down into the earth, down through the layers at least a couple miles. And just let your body decide that there's an energy there that is supportive to it. You don't need to purposefully find it or imagine it. Your body will find the one it likes the most. And then just allow that energy to flow up all the way from wherever it lives into the bottom of your feet, up through your leg to your knee, from your knees to your hips. And at your hips, it's going to reach that spot where you have your grounding cord attached to the base of your spine. And this is where the energy will flow back down through that cord to the center of the earth. So you're making a nice little cycle with the earth where you're bringing energy up, allowing it to support you, and then giving it back. Great. Good for everyone. So now we're going to reach up out into the cosmos and look for inspirational energy, creative, new ideas, cleansing, exciting, all of these things. So this time we're going to go from the very top of our head. So imagine from the top of your head that you're going to go way past our solar system, way out into the galaxy, and just allow your spirit to find an energy that excites it, sparks something. And again, you don't need to do this intentionally or imagine it, just let it happen. Energy. So then imagine bringing that back from wherever it happens to live all the way to you quickly. And then you're going to allow it to enter the back of the top of your head. It will go down your spine. At the base of your spine, here's where it's going to do something different than the earth energy did. I'm going to pick up about 10% of that earth energy. It's going to bring that to the front of your body. Just allow that to happen. And then when it reaches the front of your body, it's going to travel back up the center line of your body through each chakra. And then when it reaches the top of your head, it's going to fountain out. And a little bit will also go down each arm and fountain out through the palms of your hands. This fountaining action cleanses your aura as it does so. And any extra energy that is found out will naturally flow down your grounding cord to the earth. So now you're making this beautiful circle with the universe. That's a beautiful universe earth energy mixture flows out. It's also healing any little tears, nicks, disturbances in your auric space. It's also helping to dislodge anything that may be stuck all the layers of your beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to call back all of the energy that has belonged to us in our existence. So while all of that is still happening, you're still moving that earth energy and cosmic energy through your space. It's just effortlessly doing its thing. Imagine above your head, about 10 inches, a bright golden orb. This is a container. And this container can expand infinitely. At the center of this container is a magnet. And this magnet will be programmed to pull back all of your energy you have left anywhere, past, present, future, other dimensions, other galaxies. And just allow that magnet to begin pulling back your energy. As it does, that container will be bigger and brighter. Also tell the magnet that it should pull back energy that someone else may be holding onto and not letting go of. There you go. Okay, so that looks like you guys have pretty big containers. So let's now let some of that back into our space. So we're going to crack open that container, or you can tip it over if you prefer that energy. But just pour that energy back through the top of your head into your space. This energy is going to go throughout your space. It's going to fill in anywhere energy may be missing or lacking. Anywhere you may have just recently released energy from. It's going to refill it with this refreshed energy. And now all of that has been poured into your space. Remake the bubble or container, however you mentioned it. And this time we're going to let it fill up with free universal energy. This is energy that's always available to us. It is infinite. It never runs out. And let that bubble really, really fill up. And on this, I would like you to write a word that represents the energy you'd like for the rest of your day. It can be any word: peace, joy, amusement, fun, productivity. It can be literally anything. Take a moment to write that on there. And again, just like we did with our own energy, just pop that container open or tip it over and let that really fill in your space. Head to toe, all through your aura. You pause there and we'll take further questions before you do a little bit more. So I'll have you tap your legs to bring yourself back into your body fully. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Yay! So any questions about any of that process? Anything that we went through that maybe you'd like a little bit more information on before we move on to another bit of work?
I would like to share that that was the most visual experience I've ever had. I've done that exercise with you probably, I don't know, a half dozen or maybe a dozen times, but that was the most visual I've ever seen it. It was really
That's
special.
amazing.
And I
love that.
feel it a lot. It was really, yeah, I felt the camera shutters in the feet really opening, and also I could feel most potent feeling was imagining all of my energy coming back. When I do that exercise by myself, I don't I've always sort of left out the magnet, and when I brought that in, when you brought that up, I was just like, wow, this is so much more, it just felt so much more powerful for me when I imagined that.
Yes. Yeah, energetic magnets are awesome for anything. And, we forget to be creative with these tools. There's not a prescription for them, really. It's all up to your imagination and how you like to use them. Yeah, I use magnets for all kinds of fun stuff. So, yeah. Anyone else? Any questions? Anything to clear? Or random comments? Whatever. Okay.
That was good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Okay, we will move on then. So I'm going to again have you close your eyes and bring your awareness back to the center of your head, behind your eyes, and we're going to jump into a couple of things that the group energetically asked me for. So let's relax again. A deep breath. And so one of the things the group had asked me for ahead of time was a little bit of a permission to be spiritual in the business world. And so I'd like you to imagine out in front of you a chair. And this chair represents being kind of unapologetically spiritual. And that means what it means to you. It means what it means to you now, as well as what you're working on stepping into in your life and your progress as a being. And just that to manifest into the full potential of what that will mean for you. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go sit in that chair. Now, before you do sit, you may feel things when you sit in the chair. It may be overwhelming. So do not force yourself to stay in it if it is overwhelming or it feels anything you don't like, but at least try to. It will bring up things that you need to work on. Basically, that's the purpose of the chair. So to everybody, just don't without fear. I mean, there's nothing that's going to harm you here, but just go forward and place your energy as if you're sitting in that chair for just a moment. And I just want you to look around, imagine or feel whatever works best for you, what it's like to be in that chair, even if it's for just a second. See if anything comes up in you, anything is in you that's making it hard to sit there, anything that's scaring you. But also imagine the things that feel great about it. And like I said, if you feel like you need to step out of the chair, that's totally fine. Do that at your will. Take a moment, relax again, and then you can re-enter the chair. So we're going to try our best to stay in the chair for at least 10-15 seconds at a time. And the point of this exercise is really to understand what is different about being in that chair versus what you are doing today, where you're at today. If you take a step back out of the chair, stand in your current energy. And then we're also going to ask the chair to show us things that other people may think of us when we're in the chair. When we're in that fully spiritual version of ourselves, but also out in the real world. What are other people thinking of us? And this is going to help us get neutral to that. So once you feel like the chair has set itself to that energy, then take a step back in. Again, just observe how you feel about that, how others are feeling about you. And this may be very intense, so we're only going to stay here for a couple more seconds. Okay, and then we're energy. Just take a moment to relax back into your current energy. And now that we're all back into our current space, I want you to imagine a little tool that is like a magnet. You can imagine a bubble, a container, something sticky, anything you like. And I want you to take that and imagine that you run it through your space. Now, your space consists of your body, consists of a little bit of a gap between your body, and then it consists of your aura, which tends to be about 3 feet away from your body. And that aura is layered, much like lasagna. So just imagine this little tool that you've created of your own, and just kind of move it around energetically through your body, through all the layers, and let it pick up anything that this exercise has created the need to release in you. You can also let it go back down in front, but the little tool is a little bit more proactive. And also, please don't forget to do the back side of yourself and your aura. There's often a lot stored back there. If you feel like your tool is too covered, too full, just imagine it exploding into little bits of dust flowing away, and you can just imagine generating a new one. Some areas that might need a little bit more focus with cleaning off with the tool are your third chakra. This chakra kind of manages creativity, power, manifesting, especially other people's energy likes to congregate there. So that's a great place to focus on if you like. That's at your solar plexus, right where the ribs kind of meet in the center of your abdomen. Another really great place to focus on is the heart. The heart rules our affinities and passions, things where we have things we love or we want to create. And so it's another great place to help clean off. And chakras have a side in the front, but they also have a side in the back. So make sure you do both sides. And we will release a lot of energy really quickly. So we're going to take a brief moment and call back our energy once again, just like we did before. So imagine that bright golden orb over the top of your head as a magnet inside for your energy, wherever you may have left it, past, present, and future, or whoever else may have it. And again, just let that fill up, beautiful, big, glowing. It's nice and big and full of your energy. Just crack it open, tip it over. Let that flow all back through your system. So now we're going to put ourselves back in the space where we're standing in front of the chair. Now that you've released a lot of things, you can let the chair change into what it should look like now that you've worked through a little bit of energy about what came up. The chair may change. It may not. That's totally fine, but it may change a little bit. And so thinking back to the last 2 times we were sitting in this chair and observing the things inside of us and the things other people were feeling about us, I want you to pick the one that felt the most powerfully problematic for you, the one that you were not happiest with. So if that's maybe, I'm going to just make something up. If that's jealousy, I want you to take that one. Or if that was fear, or something like that. That one. So find the thing that came up for you the most. And I want you to imagine a little gauge. I like to use a temperature gauge, but you can use any gauge that you like. Anything with kind of a 0 point and a top point. And this gauge that you're imagining is representative of how resistant you are to that topic. So my topic was jealousy, and I'm at the bottom of the gauge. That means I'm fully resistant. The bottom is full resistance. I'm putting everything in myself to fight jealousy. So I'm pushing against it as hard as I have possible to push. And the top of that is, doesn't bother me. I'm very neutral to that. I don't have any care about that energy. Just kind of see where you are. Do not judge yourself for that level. That is just where you're starting. Okay. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a read on where roughly on the gauge you are. Am I close to the bottom? Am I close to the top? Imagine a little grounding cord, just like the cord itself, but this time it's attaching to the gauge. So attach it to the bottom of the gauge as wide as the gauge, and then attach it all the way to the center of the earth in a straight line. And now I'd like you to imagine that you're pushing up that level of the gauge, and our goal is to try to get to the top. Now this may be very challenging energetically. I'd like you to just allow as much of it to happen without forcing it as you can. But anytime you get to a spot where you're really stuck, like it's not going anywhere, I want you to imagine that you have a little bubble and you just pop it on that spot and keep popping it there until it starts to move. What that bubble is doing is breaking up the resistance energy. You notice that as you're pushing it up, it wants to kind of slide back down. That's also an indication that you might need to use a couple little bubbles just to pop on that, pick up some more of that energy and let it flow a little easier. A lot of you look like you're tapped out on how much energy you can release for one day on that topic. So we're going to take a break with the gauge, and we'll set it aside. You can come back to it later, or you can imagine just exploding it if you want to make a new one later. So step back from the gauge. And now our chair is still there that we created. So I want you now to sit back in the chair just for a moment. And just observe if it feels any different. Is it easier? Does something new come up? Are you just noticing something different about it? And as you look around at the world from that perspective, do you notice anything different about how you view the world, or even how the world views you? Lastly, I want you to imagine, now that you've done some work on that particular topic, imagine your business and how you show up in it. Does that look any different? Do you feel any different? This is all just for observation. The answer may be no. That's totally fine. Okay. Let's take a step out of that chair. And now we're going to imagine one last gauge. This gauge is your permission that you're giving yourself, or that you feel that you have in the world, to be a spiritual person. So imagine again a gauge with a 0 point and a top point. And just take a look at how much permission you currently have for that, what you feel that you have for that. Again, the top is the most that you could possibly have, the bottom is none. And in all reality, we have full permission. We all have the top of the gauge, but there are things in our lives, in our experiences, in our real world that create dissonance in that level of permission. So on your own, I would encourage you to go back into this energetic space. And just like we did with the resistance to the emotion that you picked, you can do the same thing here by raising your permission to be spiritual. You can release energy that's in your way and resolve that. But for today, we're just going to set this gauge aside. It's just for observation. Okay, so we're going to call back all our energy. You guys released a ton of energy, so you need a refresh. So just as before, again, the bright golden orb above our head with the magnet in it will call back all of your energy. It might be all refreshed and renewed back to neutral for your use. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of kindergarten energy, a little bit of play energy with some amusement, some excitement and learning in it. So yeah, just write kindergarten across that bubble. And this will set all of your energy for this beautiful, learning, amused, inspired type. And then when that bubble is nice and full, pop it open or tip it over and pour it all through your space, really letting it just fill in wherever it needs to go. It will flow there very effortlessly. All the way from the bottom of your feet to the top, all the way through every layer of your aura. Beautiful. Okay. And then just bring yourself back in your body, tap your legs a little bit, and shake around a little bit if you like, and open your eyes. Okay, so that was a lot of instruction. So are there any questions, any things that were not clear in any of that? Any observations?
I mean, yeah, I had a lot come up. That chair exercise, I haven't done that one in a while.
Yeah, it's a simple tool, but it reveals a lot of things very quickly to us.
I'll give just a brief share on what I experienced. It was super interesting. It brought me back to about 18 months ago, before when the inception of Satori School came about. I had this idea that came through and I was so excited about it. I was so stoked. And the idea was to sort of fake tattoo a Jesus cross, an Om symbol, and a yin yang symbol on my face and make an ad just talking about like just making fun of how separate all the different religions are and how people
Yeah.
see it all as different. And that would be a sort of a way to gain attention to bring people into like unity and wholeness. It was sort of going to be like a funny promo ad thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as I sat in the chair, I saw that memory come up, and I just like there was an energy of cringe that came through because I was feeling like all of the projections of mankind, like what the fuck is this human doing? Like, and then when we did the
Yeah.
gauge exercise and I sat back down in it, it was completely like neutralized, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. That would be fine. It would still be like way out there, but people would recognize that it's just a joke. And
Yes.
but yeah, it was oof, that just came up really strong.
Yeah. I think that would be hilarious. It is, it is funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could really play with that. Awesome. Yeah, looks like this one's in a question. So when your mind is wandering, or sometimes even people will, we call it falling asleep, but you kind of go unconscious and you're maybe hearing me, but you're not hearing me. You're not really following. That's really normal, actually. And it's kind of good because what it's pointing out to you is that you have unconscious energy around some of the things that you're working on. So the unconscious energy are, some people call them blocks. I don't really think of them that way, but they can act that way. So just continue. Your spirit is doing the work totally fine, even if your consciousness is somewhere else. You will release it. And as you repeat the work over some time, that will stop. This is your first time through some, I know they sounded simple, but these exercises were moving unbelievable amounts of energy to the point that your energy systems were topping out. Like my energetic release mechanism is done for the day, that kind of topping out. So we do have limits on that because, we are a infinite little spiritual being attached to a physical container, and there's this connection between the two with the nervous system and all the emotional energy we run and all of the other pieces of our energy that can happen. And so, yeah, we can max those up. But anyway, the main point is that that is a great indicator that you have this unconscious energy around the topics we're working on. And the best thing to do is just repeat it until that kind of goes away. And then it take a long time. One of my fellow students in my program that I mentioned I did earlier took almost a year to stop going through that.
Oh.
And we met, multiple times a week for a year, and she had that happen for a long time. So it is, it just means that that's a powerful thing that you're working on. And so it's exciting. At least for me, that's an exciting fact.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's really, really common. So I've even done it myself. So it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When are we doing this again?
I don't know. Taylor's the boss, so, so I let him read his answer to that.
Did you like it, Juan?
Yeah, I like it, but I joined too late, man.
Okay.
Yes, so I couldn't follow up fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could feel that it was really nice. I loved the topics that you guys were going through.
Yeah. We have the recording also, so you'll be able to go through it. But definitely your spirit was probably here before you actually showed up.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Often when people join groups like this, there's a group spiritual agreement. So the people who show up for things kind of at some point in existence said, hey, if you ever come across this thing, I want to work on that with you. And we all kind of end up together. So yeah, your spirit would definitely show up, even if your body and your mind are somewhere else.
Kerri, can you
Yeah.
touch on that a little bit more? I want to give a little bit of context. Michael reminded me of this a couple of weeks ago. Michael, you could probably speak better to what you said exactly to me, but he sent me a DM and it was something along the lines of he was feeling just greater access to universal knowledge, and he felt that there was an aspect of that was coming through the group because we've all kind of come into this group together for business growth and spiritual growth.
Mhm.
Can you touch on just what that is when people come together into a group and there's sort of a collective field that is formed, and then we're essentially better able to access information through each other in that network that we've formed? Can you explain how you understand?
Yeah. Yeah, let me just get the cleanup of the newest news on that topic from source. So we think of ourselves as a single thing, like we are our spirit, but our vibration is somewhat infinite. Like we can vibrate many things at the same time, each individually. So when I'm in a session with just you, Taylor, we've got my infinite vibrations and your infinite vibrations. Now we have two infinite vibrations. When you've got 3, 5, 15, 100, as you go up, you've got this like layers of vibrations. It's kind of like the noise you could make in the center of a football stadium by yourself or with two people versus it being full. It's so loud it can shake the literal ground. So it's just you're just amplifying the vibration. Well, that is a two-way thing when you can create waves out into the world and cause change with your vibration, your intention as a group. You can also pull in information back to you or access, in that sense, information at just higher level of intensity. Sometimes also what I'm seeing is that the group can get to information that the individual can't because of these things that they're feeling resistance about. So maybe the individual has a resistance that is kind of preventing, I don't really like that word, but just it's in the way of them seeing clearly the information they want or the thing they're trying to accomplish. But as a group, the group doesn't have that resistance.
Yeah.
Because someone else is helping balance out. So those are kind of the things. Does that answer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like most people look at groups and they're like, oh, it's a group, so I have access to new people and new information, and that's like the most physical Newtonian, like linear way of looking at it, but there's a much more quantum like aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's what a great question. I've never looked at that before. So okay, looks like this one says, any tips for beginners to start going from 1 to 100 in a year's time? Well, energy doesn't necessarily work on a scale like that where, okay, I'm at 1% today. I worked really hard. Now I'm at 2%. Now I'm at 3. Energy can be, it can be worked in a way where today I'm at 1, and in 3 days, I just spent a couple days on this, and then I'm at 100. Like it can just fall off in a big chunk like that. So it is really dependent on how much you want to work on something, the reasons why something's in your space. Like, well, is this stuck in my space because I have all these other little things that are holding it there that I really needed to kind of clear? So going back to the example I was using of jealousy, well, maybe jealousy is fear. Well, that fear comes from lack of self-worth, fear of abandonment, all of these different things. And so if I worked on those, then this fear would just be gone, and then maybe the whole jealousy would just immediately be gone, like or resistance to the jealousy. So all of that is kind of a little bit of a self-exploration exercise. So I guess the tips for beginners is go to the chair, try to get as many observations of what's in your way as possible. Write them down. There's no reason you have to stay in this meditation until you come back out. You can enter that state or go back to that chair and come back out, write things down, go back there. Some people they need a little moment to settle again. Say close their eyes and relax, but there's nothing hurting you from doing that. And then start chipping away at that list. But you can also ask, well, this is the thing that came up. Is there anything attached to that? Is there anything else around that? And that's how you'll get that kind of little map of, oh, this is here because these are my actual fears, or these are my actual blocks. And this one is just a result of those. Does that make sense? I hope that
makes a lot of sense. It's all like interconnected.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. yeah, so you'll have some people come in, and in one session they'll drop a ton of stuff instantly and then everything's fine. You'll have other people who are like, oh, well, now I need to go down this little path and travel through all the different things, and they learn a lot. And sometimes they learn that the way they wanted to go in the beginning is not the way they want to go now. You know, I think that kind of happened with you, Taylor. You started out and like, how do I do this in my business? And you ended up going, how do I become all that you are today? So
Yeah.
it can definitely really pivot.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered your question.
Michael, how was it?
Yeah, it was good. Lots of energy clearing. Yeah, it was really great. It is Kerri, isn't it? Kerri, how did
Kerri,
you
yes.
how did you find your way into this understanding?
Yeah, I was always kind of aware of energies. I was definitely one of those creepy kids who could see ghosts. That was disturbing to my family, but and then later when I became kind of in my mid-20s age range, I realized I could see people's auras, but I didn't know what they meant. I didn't know why I was, you know, why was this person purple and that one's green and that one's blue. And so I kind of went down the path of, well, green means this, purple means that, or whatever. And it didn't really work well. Like it didn't line up with what was actually going on with the people. So I sought out education. I found an amazing school. It's called the Intuitive Path Academy here in Oregon, and with a beautiful, lovely teacher. She comes from Hawaii with all of their deep attachment to spirituality and the other side. And so that for her led to this school. Anyway, I spent 3 years there. I worked all the way through their teaching program. So that's kind of what led me to have tools. Once I had tools, I started realizing all the things that I've learned about people and how different all the documented things about spirituality are kind of right. There's a part that's right about them, a part that's not, and a part that's limiting about them seems to be the most common thread, where humanity's tried to put a box around it, and that isn't really how it works. You know, so purple. If say Taylor's purple today and you're purple today, they can be completely different things going on in your space. You know, so for example, in your aura color, and it may be the aura layer that you're showing me is different. Like, you know, you're showing me your inspirational level of your aura, and someone else is showing me a practical level, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of what led me here.
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. Great.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, well, I think we're a couple minutes up. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Final words from Supreme Being on the group.
Yeah, that's that. I'm actually going to call in everyone's record keeper, see if there's any information about why this group is created. Huh? Okay, so your record keepers, before I talk to Spring, have told me that you all have come together to kind of be a no nonsense, like let's cut the woo-woo nonsense weirdness view of all of this and just be like, no, this is truth. So as a group, you're kind of creating truth together and discovering that together, but creating it and being a front line. What you showed me is like
Lines.
a front line of soldiers just standing there like arm in arm and like, no, the buck stops here. Like no more BS behind this line. So that was kind of cool. So that's something you're all working, creating, brought together for. Yeah, Supreme Being here. You all have a really pure love for each other. It's not necessarily the love like we can imagine here. In the words we have, human words are so poorly suited to explain stuff, but it's what we have. So yeah, it's a very pure love for each other of just lifting up, supporting in that sense of like, I'm gonna lift you up, we're all lifting each other up, but also just being that part of that front line that I was saying that your record keepers are telling me about. You know, we're part of this kind of chain of it's unbreakable. If one of you steps out, someone else is easily filling that in because it's truth. You know, it's not breakable. So that looks like Beautiful message. Yeah.
Oh, I love that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, you're creating something pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah, and bringing it down into this world that in business, especially, and then depending on the type, is a very like I work in a very sciencey business. I'm working with, PhDs that went to IT, most of them, Stanford, things like that. They're very sciencey, very real world, and so when you're working in that world, things tend to want to get defined down. And so, depending on the businesses you guys are all trying to work with, being able to be that truth and the spirituality is not this weird, crazy, scary, woo-woo, weird, the word crazy, all these different words that people assign to spirituality. You're kind of creating the reality that it's not any of those things. It just is.
nice.
So, yeah.
Ah,
Anyway. Yeah.
so
Anything else from everybody today? It was so nice to meet you all and
I'm great.
introduce you to some fun things.
It
Thank
was
you.
nice meeting you too, Kerri.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
lovely.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you all again sometime.
Oh, thank you so much, Kerri. Really appreciate it. This was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Well, take care and a lovely week.
You guys too. Love you all. Love you all. A beautiful weekend. And does anybody want to stay on? I'm happy to stay on, but anybody can leave at this point.
I'm gonna, thank you.
Love you, Kerri. Bye.
Bye.
You out? Yep. Usman, I love you. Have a beautiful weekend. I don't know if you're still in the mall.
Yeah, I'm still at the mall, but listening.
Thanks for coming, brother. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. How was it? Was it okay? Were you following?
Yeah, it was. I think I still need to work on that. The one clarity that I got about the question that I asked is it's gonna take like some serious time, right? So I about the fact that I'm not able to follow like 100% of it, but like she said, it's normal, right? So I'm just glad about that.
Super normal. No, dude, I think I don't think it's gonna take that long for you. I think you're gonna pick it up very quick, and it's just a matter of getting some good sleep and having some meditative mornings, and then you'll be off to the races.
By the way, I got my Galaxy ring today. Aura ring wasn't available in Dubai, but I think it's the next best thing.
Okay, oh dude, I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. That's amazing, brother. Well, dude, thanks for joining. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll probably talk to you next week.
Hopefully. Yeah, thanks a lot for this.
All right, ciao, brother.
Bye-bye.